डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Hello students, I welcome you to the Chaitanya studio of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. We are going to deal today with one of the papers of BBA, BBAR 603, Corporate Governance and Business Ethics. This paper comprises 4 blocks, and from those blocks we are going to deal with block 1, and in block 1 also unit 1. It is related with introduction of corporate governance and business ethics. Let us begin with what are the objectives of this module, of this block. The objectives of this block, learning objectives of this block are to understand meaning of corporate governance, to know the corporate governance, to understand conditions for making codes effective, to understand company management. These are the 4 main objectives. Right now we are focusing on the first 2 objectives, to understand meaning of corporate governance, and second, to know the corporate governance. At number of places in this module, in my talks, even in PowerPoint presentation, you will find the word CG for corporate governance. So somewhere if I speak CG, or somewhere if you read the word CG, please understand that I am talking about corporate governance. 2 words are combined here, corporate and governance. You are familiar, or you would be familiar with the word corporate. You know, big companies, giant companies, huge companies, they run business under a particular name by following certain rules and regulations of business, company laws, and whatever provisions made by either the state government or by the central government to run that particular sector. Now, any sector, when I use the word any sector, that means it may be a steel industry, steel sector, business sector, pharmaceutical center, educational corporate world related with IT, in information and technology. All these corporate houses, business houses, organizations should run smoothly, should run systematically, should run in an organized way. And for that, company should govern itself in a way that it gets the ultimate results. And at that time, this corporate governance plays a very crucial role. That is why students, you should know what is corporate governance. Let us try to know exact word by definition. As I told you, the word governance is important here. So governance implies a degree of control to be exercised by key stakeholders representatives. Governance is about governing, is not merely about ownership. If I am a member of the governing body, it doesn't mean I am the owner of that company, but I have been given the responsibility of running the company in a stipulated time, rules and regulations. So that is why we have written here that governance implies a degree of control. Controlling, that means managing the things. You have to exercise this control because you are the representatives of the stakeholders of the society. What do you mean by the stakeholders? Whenever you are using the word stakeholders, that means people who are associated in the structuring in the business of that particular organization. Employees, employers, agents, brokers, government, board of directors, and most importantly shareholders. They all are known as stakeholders. So when you are in the governing body of any organization, you are representing those stakeholders. So you have to take care of the interest of those stakeholders. The bedrock, that means the most important pillar of good corporate governance, is conducting the affairs of a company in such a way as to ensure fairness to customers, employees, investors, vendors, the government and the society at a large. Corporate governance is conducting, managing, controlling the affairs, that means incidents, activities, work, assignments of a company in such a way that there should be fairness, truth, there should be transparency, there should be accountability in the work which are concerned with customers, employees, investors, vendors, and the government and society. Corporate governance requires quality of leadership, values, transparent management, vision and goals, respect for laws. Crucial aspect of governance is investor friendly. It requires good leaders. A good corporate house will have a wonderful leader. Values, ethics. There should be a lot of transparency in the management. There should be a vision and mission also. There should be goals and respect for the laws of the nation. These are very crucial things. But most important thing is it should be investor friendly. Lot of care, lot of concern should be there for the investors. So if we try to broadly understand the meaning of the word corporate governance, then we will have this kind of conclusion, we will have this kind of summary, that corporate governance is a system by which companies are directed and controlled, thus placing board of directors of a company in center. So there is a system in which companies run properly, appropriately, and this responsibility is given to the board of directors of the company. A corporate governance is a conscious, deliberate and sustained efforts on the part of corporate entity to strike a judicious balance between its own interest and the interest of various constituents on the achievement on the environmental in which it is operating. There is an environment, there is a proper conducive atmosphere to work, and it is the responsibility of the board of directors, it is the responsibility of the company to create that kind of conducive environment where everybody can flourish. One of the definitions of corporate governance is given by Adrian Cadbury. He is from United Kingdom, England. He said, corporate governance basically has to do with power and accountability. Two important words he has talked. Power, that means control, and accountability, that means responsibility. When any power is given to you, when any authority is given to you, it comes always with the responsibility. Who exercise power, on behalf of whom, and how the exercise of power is controlled. This governance clearly indicates, directs, suggests that who exercise power, who is in the authority, on behalf of whom you are working, and how the exercise of power is controlled. Additional power given to you, this power is to be controlled also. There should be some kind of authority to control another authority. This is called wonderful arrangement for corporate governance. Conditions for making codes effective. Corporate governance can be achieved, or the governance will bring expected results if these codes of ethics are followed. What is ethics? It is a general principle to differentiate between what is right and what is bad, what is good and what is bad, what is right and wrong. Ethics is something which is beyond discussion. It makes an individual internally strong. It creates wonderful impact on the society. And if your organization is running ethically, principally, then your products, your services will be sold in the market with minimum attempts. So what are the code? In a recent Dutch study, Captain and Clammer 1991 list 6 conditions for effective codes of ethics. It should be like this. That means these 6 conditions should be followed to achieve the goals of corporate governance. Number 1, a valid motivation for its introduction. Why we need this kind of governance? There should be some kind of motivation and valid motivation. And when you say valid motivation, that means you should be in a position to convince your employees or stakeholders for implementing this particular thing in your organization. So this is called a valid motivation. It also talks about broad acceptance within the company. There should be continuous feedback. Whatever rules you made, whatever things you developed, introduced, there should be some kind of feedback. Continuous feedback, that is why we have used the word. Not timely, but continuous feedback. Verification and control. There should be examination, evaluation, somewhere it should be evaluated. And at the same time, there should be some kind of control over the authority also. Integration into a broad company philosophy on corporate services and responsibility. And last point, sanctions and control. Good governance, good governance closely associated with ethics, and these ethics give you some kind of power, authority, and at the same time controlling and sanctioning. These two authorities you are getting. If a company needs or wants to run smoothly, company should follow corporate governance and at the same time ethics too. This corporate governance and ethics can be followed, implemented, generated through or by company management. So we should also know what company management covers. In company management, we cover 1. Government machinery for admission to the Companies Act 1956. Second, function of the board of directors. Third, the chairman of the board. Fourth, the committees of the board. Fifth, duties of directors. And sixth, role of company secretary. Remember, these are the different management people, or they fall in a particular hierarchy. Board of directors have their own roles, duties and responsibilities. At the same time, the chairman has its own responsibility. The committee performs different kind of role. The directors perform different kind of duties, whereas company secretaries are performing their own roles. But all board of directors, chairman, committees, secretary, they all think about one thing: betterment of the organization. So that is why these different categories which are covered under the title of company management really help in running the company in a better way. The concept of corporate governance could be implemented properly. Company remain ethical for a longer period if the management is better. So company management crucially or plays a crucial role. This all points that is the first thing that we have said. The government machinery for administration of the Companies Act 1956. You know it very well that most of the companies or companies that you might be knowing, they run or they function as per the Companies Act of 1956. There are a number of revisions in Companies Act also. Till 2013, more and more revisions are made. But originally, the Companies Act was introduced in 1956. So the foundation of most of the companies based on this Companies Act. And as per the Companies Act of 1956, the company law board should include all these things. For day-to-day administration, for running the business or for running the company on regular basis, that is why we have used the word for day-to-day administration of the act, the company law board is to be set up. Its powers have enlarged from 1991. What are they? It is a quasi-judicial body. It is a judicial body. It exercises powers of the court or hitherto with government. Whatever powers are given to the court in the national level, same kind of power are given to this board within the organization. Members of company law board not to exceed 9. Now this gives us the idea how many members should be there. So there should be maximum 9 members in the company law board, which are to be appointed by government and 1 by the chairman. And the tenure, the duration is for 3 years. Members from separate benches and will enjoy powers of civil court to enforce inspection of documents and evidence. Members have powers for execution of its orders, as I discussed. Appeals against the orders of the company law boards lies before High Court. Within the company, this company law board tries to follow all the rules and regulations set by the Company Act. The tenure is for 3 years. Maximum 9 members should be there. Another body that is closely associated with the Companies Act is Registrar of Companies, which is known as ROC. ROC, Registrar of Companies, is basically a registry and an office of record where all the things are recorded. Whatever you do, whatever company does is to be registered somewhere, that is ROC. It has 4 regional offices at Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai and Kanpur. It is having advisory committee too. There is another important body, that is jurisdiction of courts. Respective high courts have power for their jurisdiction. Central government may empower any district court to exercise powers of high court, except for, this is purely related with laws, that this much authority is given to this company, this body, this much authority is given to this body. And what would be their jurisdiction? Jurisdiction, that means this is the area where these laws can be applied. So this is called jurisdiction. What are the functions of the board of directors? 9 board of directors, those board of directors which are chosen by the company, by the stakeholders. What are their functions? What do they do? It is responsible for setting standards and ensure that company achieves them. Whatever goals, whatever vision, whatever target set by the stakeholders, by the shareholders are to be achieved. And this is the responsibility of the board of directors, BOD, to take care of this. The chairman will have a major impact, no doubt about it. Board is considered as agent of trustees. They are representing the trustees. They are liable for negligence, breach of trust under the company law. So they are liable, they are responsible. It is their responsibility to observe, monitor each and everything in a way that company runs smoothly. And if anything goes wrong with the company, the board of directors is responsible. The third, functions of the board of directors. There are n number of functions, even in the earlier slide also, that what they do, we can take 1 or 2. Suppose board is the representative of the shareholders. They are the representatives of the shareholders to ensure the company has clear goals and to measure progress against these goals. The board will agree the strategy and resources needed to achieve it. In this way, up to last point, acquisition and disposal of assets of the company or its subsidiaries, all the rights and responsibilities are with board of directors. The third important authority, the chairman. And the chairman of the board, remember, it is proper to separate the role of chairman and the CEO, chief executive, is a different thing. Chairman is the leader of the board. Remember, chairman must get standards for board of directors. Chairman is the leader, highest authority chairman. Chairman is a link between the board and the stakeholders or shareholders. chairman must be satisfied with corporate reporting, shareholders, and interim and annual results, annual general meetings. Everything that is happening in the company, annual reports, annual results, AGM, shareholders' interest, dividend, all the rules and regulations, all the benefits, all the advantages, everything is related with the consent of the chairman. So, chairman plays a very crucial role. To help chairman, to support chairman, to work smoothly, different committees are made under different names. So, these committees of the board, there are three major committees of the board. What are the three main committees of the board? One is audit committee, second is remuneration committee, and third nomination committee. First, audit committee, second, remuneration committee, and third, nomination committee. Audit committee takes care of the issues related with the audit. Remuneration committee takes care the issues related with the remuneration. Remuneration, that means salary, related with the pay of the employees, even place of the chairman, remuneration of staff, everything. And nomination committee, it is chaired by the chairman and non-ex directors are brought in the selection. This committee is nominated, or it contains nominated members, and these members function as, you can say in a broader sense, advisor to the organization. What are the duties of the directors? We have seen the role of the chairman, the role of the board of law, board of the committees, and now duties of directors. Whoever is working as director in a corporate world has to perform his/her duties, and they are to attend board meetings. Board of directors meet regularly, and in that board of meetings, directors have rights, authority to attend the meeting. Not allow other directors to commit liable acts, not to exceed his powers. Remember, in a good governance, everywhere it is mentioned that your whatever power is given to you, you can enjoy that power, you can encash that power, but at the same time, some limit, some restrictions, some control is set up, is there always on the powers given to any authority. Act in best interest of company and stakeholders and customers. Also creditor. Maintain confidentiality. Confidentiality anywhere is key to success. It is very important that you maintain all types of confidentiality, because what number of things are discussed in meeting, and whatever is discussed in meeting, it should not be disclosed to anyone until it becomes law or it is circulated through public. Not to make secret profits. You have to work in the interest of the company only. You cannot think about your personal benefits or personal profits. Not to misapply company assets. Yes, there is a lot of assets of the company and you are the trustee of that. So you cannot misapply, you cannot misuse it. And not to compete in business with the company. You are working on behalf of the company. You are working for the company. So you cannot do anything that creates competition for this company. So you have to be very much clear that this is your duty, this is your role, and you have to perform in that way. Directors to act in good faith and generally otherwise liable in the court under sections number 201 and 633 of the Companies Act 1956. Remember, board of directors get lot of power, get lot of authority, but at the same time, if the board of directors or any director is violating the rule, then they can be challenged in the court. And Companies Act 1956 has made that kind of provision that some actions can be taken against the director as sections number 201 and 633 of Companies Act. Role of a company secretary, very important. The company secretary finds his or her rightful place as a professional by virtue of being a member of a recognized professional body. Institute of Company Secretary, that is the recognized body that gives you the professional degree and through which you can work as a professional as a company secretary, which exercise supervisory jurisdiction over its members. The company secretary is an expert in corporate laws, who knows almost all the laws, you can say, chief advisor to the board of directors on best practices and corporate governance, responsible for all regulatory compliances of company, corporate planning and strategic manager, and continuing professional development. This is the role of a company secretary. So let us end with this, that is a very important question which could be useful to you even in the exam and for understanding the whole topic. Explain the role of company secretary in compliance's success. And this is a very important list of the books that if you are interested in developing more knowledge about the subject, then you can prefer this. So students, we have tried to understand the concept of corporate governance and business ethics. What is corporate governance? You should be in a position to answer now, that it is a way of running the company in a better way. Some control and at the same time some kind of liberty, some kind of ethics, some kind of following rules and regulation. And at the same time, all the corporate having certain committees, certain management to run the company smoothly. Each and every person in the company is responsible in the interest of corporate world, in the interest of the shareholders. They should be loyal to the company. Commitment and business ethics play a very crucial role in corporate governance. Thank you, students.